Hello all, myself Dr. Vartya Jagan, working as an associate professor in the EEE department, PBIT. So in this lecture, I am going to explain about full wave controlled converter with R load, RL load and RLE load as well for bridge type configuration, right? So now in the last video, I have discussed about half wave converter as well as full wave converter in midpoint type configuration. In this lecture, I am going to explain about bridge type configuration. And there are two configurations in case of bridge type configuration, full wave bridge type configuration, which is fully controlled converter configuration, semi-controlled converter configuration. Now I am going to focus here in this lecture about a fully controlled converter, right? So you can see these are circuit configuration with R load, which consists of 4 thyristors. So this is forming a bridge. This will form a bridge. Now this is called as power electronic converter, which will convert the AC input to a variable DC across the load. Right now we'll see how we are going to achieve this variable DC out of fixed AC. Right now, if you see to this power electronic converter, I am going to mark with a rectangular box with red color. Now, to this converter, it's a power electronic converter, we are going to provide sinusoidal AC. So you can see here, this is the input waveform, which is varying with respect to sine omega t. Now, during positive half cycle, so this complete cycle consists of positive as well as negative half cycle. So this is what positive half cycle. So now I am considering this as a mode 1. So during positive half cycle, positive comes first, then negative. So you can see this terminal is positive and this terminal is negative. So now I can see this leg A, which consists of T1 and T4. The center point of this leg A is connected to positive, and leg B consists of T2 and T3, which are control element, which is connected to the negative terminal, right? So now I can say T1 will be in forward bias condition because anode is connected to positive, as well as T3 is also in forward bias condition because cathode is connected to negative, anode may be connected to positive. So T1 and T3, they are in forward bias condition during this entire positive half cycle. So I can trigger T1 at any instant of time from omega t equal to 0 to omega t equal to pi. I have applied triggering pulse to T1 and T3 at the same time. Here you can see. So at alpha omega t equal to alpha. So from this point onward, the output voltage will follow the input voltage. You can see this following the dotted line. And since it's the resistive load, the current and the voltage the current wave shape should be in phase with the voltage wave shape. You can see here. And from omega t equal to alpha onward, thyristor T is in conduction state. So voltage across a T1 will be 1 to 2 volts practically. And during alpha, it is blocking the forward voltage. Now you can see the behavior of T2 and T4. T2 anode is connected to negative here. T4 cathode is connected to positive here. Therefore, T2 and T4, they are in reverse bias condition. They will goes to off condition. So now, if I trigger T1 and T3 at the same time, this will be a circuit configuration. Current always leaves from positive terminal of the source. T1 anode, T1 cathode, or T3 anode, T3 cathode, and back to the source like this. So these are direction of current, and you can say here the current is entering at the bottom terminal, top terminal of this resistance R. So I have considered as a positive. That is the reference point now, right? So these are direction of current which may flow to the load from source to load, right, through thyristor T1 and T3. Okay, so this is about a positive half cycle. Now we'll move on to the negative half cycle. So now you can see the negative half cycle, which will start from omega t equal to pi to omega t equal to 2 pi. So this is during negative half cycle, right? So during this interval, now the polarity will get reversed. Previously it was positive and negative. Now it became negative and positive. So leg A center point is connected to negative. Leg B center point is connected to positive. Now you can say thyristor T2 anode is connected to positive, so it is in forward bias condition. Similarly, thyristor T4 cathode is connected to negative, so it is also in forward bias condition. So these two devices, they will be in forward bias condition, and they will start conducting from omega t equal to pi plus alpha. So if I apply triggering pulse to them at this particular point, which is a pi plus alpha, so from this point onward, the output voltage has to follow the input voltage. So you can see the output voltage following the input voltage. This portion you can see at the input side, right? And since the load is a resistive load, the current and the voltage, they should be in phase. So you can say the current, output current, which is in phase with the output voltage. And if you see the behavior of thyristor T1 and T3, T1 anode is connected to negative, T3 cathode is connected to positive. So these two devices, they will be in a reverse biased condition, and they will boost to off condition. Right now you can see the equivalent circuit. So the triggering pulse to T2 and T4 given at pi plus alpha. So from that point onward, they will be in conduction state. And as I told you, this polarity will be positive now, and this polarity will be negative during negative half cycle. Right, the current always leaves from positive terminal. It is leaving from source positive. T2 anode, T2 cathode, load, T4 anode, T4 cathode, and back to the source. Now you can see the direction of current, which is flowing from source to the load through thyristor T2 and T4. Now again, if you see the current entering to the load is at this particular point, so which is I have considered it as a positive. So even though the input terminal are reversed, we can see positive voltage across the load. That is what we can see in the waveform, right? And since T1 it is in reverse bias condition, and still it is connected to the source, anode is connected to negative and cathode is connected to positive. So the thyristor T1 is having reverse voltage across it, which is minus Vm sine omega t. Right now, we will move on to the derivation part, the derivation of average and RMS output voltage. Now, if you see the output waveforms, this is the output voltage waveform, which is having some magnitude from omega t equal to alpha to omega t equal to pi, and pi plus alpha to 2 pi also we are having some magnitude across the load. Now if you integrate this area, you will get the average output voltage. So that is what I have written here, 1 by 2 pi. So I need to consider complete one cycle, which is 2 pi interval, 1 by 2 pi. Alpha 2 pi Vm sine omega t this area, and pi plus alpha to 2 pi, it is, you can see this area. And since the thyristors are triggered symmetrically, so the area under a positive half cycle and area under negative half cycle will be same. I can consider only one area, either positive half cycle or negative half cycle area with respect to input side if you want to see. So I have considered only one positive half cycle. Now this I am going to consider is 1 by pi, because I am considering only half cycle from the complete one cycle. And alpha 2 pi, we are getting some voltage, this portion you can see, right? And integration Vm sin omega t, which is vary with respect to Vn sin omega t. So if you integrate sin omega t, it will be minus cos omega t, and you just substitute the upper limit and lower limit, you will get this expression cos alpha cos 180, it is minus 1 into minus 1, it will be plus 1, it is Vm by pi 1 plus cos alpha. And you can see the maximum voltage when the alpha will be triggered at this particular point. That means alpha equal to 0 degrees. So if you substitute alpha equal 0, you will get a maximum average output voltage. Vm by pi 1 plus cos 0, it will be 1. So you can say 1 plus 1, 2. 2 Vm by pi, that is a maximum voltage you can obtain with the help of full wave rectifier. Right, and this is the average output current that you can get by dividing the average output voltage by R. Right. Similarly, we can derive the RMS output voltage. Again, same thing here. I will consider only one half cycle due to symmetrical waveform. So alpha 2 pi, we are getting some voltage, which is Vm square sin square omega t, and the mean value is pi. So I have considered only under root, right? It is root means root. Mean matlab 1 by pi, square matlab alpha 2 pi Vm square sin square omega t d omega t. Right. And now we all know that sin square omega t will be 1 minus cos 2 omega t by 2. Just take this 2 common, Vm by under root 2 pi, alpha 2 pi 1 d omega t, this factor, minus integration from alpha 2 pi cos 2 omega t, this factor into d omega t, and the integration of constant, it will be omega t, limits are alpha 2 pi, minus cos 2 omega t integration, it will be 1 by 2 sin 2 omega t, you can see here, and the limits are alpha to beta, alpha to pi. You just substitute the upper and lower limit, so you will get the average RMS output voltage as Vm by under root 2 pi under root pi minus alpha plus 1 by 2 sin 2 alpha. And if you divide this voltage by R, you will get the RMS load current. And this is the expression for RMS load current. So this is about the single phase full wave bridge type configuration with the R load. And you all know that input power factor is given by power delivered to the load by input volt amperes. Power delivered to the load, you can write it as V naught RMS into I naught RMS. That you can write here. And volt amperes, input volt amperes is input voltage multiplied by the input current, which is same as the load current, since the load and the input are connected in series. So I naught RMS in the numerator, I naught RMS in the denominator will get cancelled. We left with V naught RMS by Vs. So which means it is V naught RMS. So we know that V naught RMS is this much. Just now we have derived. This multiplied by Vs will give input power factor. Vm, we all know that it is root 2 times Vs. Vs in the numerator, Vs in the denominator will get cancelled. Root 2 will get cancelled. So we left with is the value, which is 1 by under root pi minus alpha plus 1 by 2 sin 2 alpha. Right? So this is about a full wave controlled converter in bridge type configuration with R load. Now we'll move on to one more load called resistive and inductive load. And this is the circuit configuration where the load is replaced by resistance and inductance which are connected in series. And now this is what our power electronic converter, which will convert the AC at the input to a controllable DC at the load. Right, we will see how we are going to get variable DC across the load from a fixed AC. Right, so these are the expected waveforms you can see here. Okay, now if you consider the converter, the input to the converter is the AC. You can see it is vary with respect to sin omega t. So you can see positive half cycle as well as negative half cycle in complete one cycle. So during positive half cycle, the positive will come first and then negative. So here you will get positive, here you will get negative. That means this positive is connected to leg A center point, negative is connected to leg B center point, which consists of thyristor T2 and T3. And now with respect to these polarities, thyristor T1 anode is connected to positive, thyristor T3 cathode is connected to negative, anode may be connected to positive. Therefore, T1 and T3 they are in forward biased condition. That you can see here. They are in forward biased condition. Now you can trigger them at any instant of time from omega t equal to 0 to omega t equal to pi, because they are in forward bias condition during that interval. I have given pulses to T1 and T3 at the same time at omega t equal to alpha. So from this point onward, the output voltage following the input voltage. You can see here, it is following the input voltage. And since the load is the inductive load, the current has to lag the voltage by some angle. It is lagging the voltage by some angle. Thereafter, it is charging the inductor. During positive half cycle, that is from alpha to pi, the inductor may charge to a maximum energy. Thereafter, it will discharge, right? So you can see the equivalent circuit when T1 and T3 are turned on. Current is leaving from positive, T1 anode, T1 cathode, resistance R, inductance L, T3 anode, T3 cathode, and back to the source. This is the direction of current. And during this interval from omega t equal to alpha to pi, the inductor is charging with this polarity across it. Now, just after omega t equal to pi, you can see we are going to see negative voltage across the load, because the output voltage is following the input voltage. So it has to follow the input voltage. And after omega t equal to pi, the inductor is discharging. So to discharge its energy to the source or to the load resistance, it has to replace its polarity. So top will be negative, and the bottom polarity of the inductor will be positive. And now for this circuit, the source is the inductor, because it has to discharge this energy. So current always leaves from positive terminal of the inductor to the source like this. Okay, and T1 still it is in conduction state. Resistance R and inductor negative like this. So you can see the discharging current of the inductor with green color, green mark. So due to the discharging path, T1 and T3 still they are in conduction state. So you can see the voltage across T1 will be 1 to 2 volts up to beta, where beta is the extinction angle. It is the angle measured from the reference point to the point at which the current extinguishes to 0. You can see here. Okay, so this is about positive half cycle. It's about positive half cycle, and depending upon the value of inductor, depending upon the value of inductance, the current may discharge here, or it may discharge here, or it may discharge here. Now here in this case, I have considered only small value of inductance, so it is discharging at this particular point. The discharge in time interval is less. Now, when you see the behavior of T2 and T4, they will be in reverse bias condition, because T2 anode is connected to negative, T4 cathode is connected to positive, so they are in reverse bias condition. So they will be in off state. Right. Let us move on to the negative half cycle. So negative half cycle means with omega t will lie between pi and 2 pi. Now you can see with a rectangular green box. So during this interval, the polarity will reverse. Now previously it was positive, now it will be negative, because it's negative half cycle, and negative is replaced by positive. Now you can see leg A is connected to negative. Previously it was connected to positive. Leg B is connected to positive, previous it is connected to negative. Those terminal you can see with the green color, green mark, right? Now this is the circuit configuration during negative half cycle. Now you can see T1 anode is connected to negative, T3 cathode is connected to positive. So T1 and T3 they are in for reverse bias condition and they will be in off stage. If you see thyristor T2 and T4, T2 anode is connected to positive, T4 cathode is connected to negative, the other terminal may be connected to positive. Therefore, T2 and T4 they will be in forward bias condition and they will be in conduction state if you apply the triggering pulse. So at omega t equal to pi plus alpha, the firing pulse is given to the thyristor. It is pi plus alpha here. It's pi plus alpha. The firing pulse is given to T2 as well as T4 at the same time. Here you can see. So from that point onward, the output voltage will follow the input voltage. You can see it is following the input voltage. Now we'll see the equivalent circuit when T2 and T4 they are in conduction state. Now it is replaced by short circuit. T4 is also replaced by short circuit. The current always leaves from positive terminal. It is leaving from positive. T2 anode and T2 cathode, inductor resistance, inductor. T4 anode, T4 cathode, and back to the negative supply. Again, I can say the current is entering at this particular point, this is positive. So even the input is getting reversed, but you will get same voltage across the load, which is a positive with this configuration. So you can see the positive voltage across the load, and the load is having inductors also. So the output current has to lag the output voltage by some angle. So it is lagging the output voltage by some angle, and it is charging the inductor. So from pi plus alpha to 2 pi, the inductor may charge to a maximum energy. And you can see the charging of the inductor means the positive and negative polarity like this. Right. And after 2 pi, you can see there is a discharging in the current. There is a discharging in the current. Right. So to discharge the energy either to the load resistance or back to the source, now it has to replace its polarity. The polarity is getting reversed like this, negative, positive. And to discharge the energy, the current always leaves from positive terminal. Now the inductor behaves like a source for this circuit. So it is leaving from inductor positive. Thyristor T4 anode, T4 cathode, source, right? T2 anode, T2 cathode, resistance R, inductor negative. You can see with blue color mark. So this is the direction of current, which is leaving from the inductor back to the source and to inductor negative. Right. So now the whatever energy it has in it, that will be dissipated completely at this particular point. So if you have large value of inductor, it may discharge here, may discharge here. Here I have considered only a small value of inductor. So it is discharging completely at this particular point. Right. So here you can see the current through the inductor, which is flowing to the load as well as T2 and T4, they will become zero at this particular point. So at this particular point, T2 and T4 will goes to off condition. You won't get any current to the load due to this inductor charging capability, right? And due to zero current, you will get zero voltage here. So during the short portion, due to presence of zero current, you will get zero voltage. Right. So this is about the single phase full wave bridge type configuration converter with R L load. Now we'll go for derivation of average output voltage and RMS output voltage. Now we have triggered the thyristor symmetrically. So I will consider only the positive half cycle. So you can see during alpha to beta, we are getting some voltage which may be positive or negative. So you can say from alpha to pi, we are getting positive voltage across the load. From pi to beta, we are getting some negative voltage across the load. which is following the input voltage, right? So now I can write directly alpha 2 pi Vm sin omega t. Similarly, pi plus alpha 2 beta, we will get some voltage across the load, which is Vm sin omega t. But due to symmetrical waveform, I will consider only one half cycle, 1 by pi, because I am considering only one half cycle, this area, right? Alpha to beta, we are getting some voltage, which is Vm sin omega t. So integration of sin omega t, which is minus cos omega t, and just substitute the upper limit and lower limit, you will get this expression. Vm by pi cos alpha minus cos beta. And the current expression can be written like this. Similarly, to derive the RMS output voltage, again, we need to focus on this, the waveform. So just now I have explained about this waveform. From alpha to beta, we are getting some voltage which may be positive or negative, but which is varying with respect to Vm sin omega t. So Vm by under root pi, alpha to pi, Vm square sin square omega t, right? That I need to write. I have taken Vm square out of the root. So directly I have written here Vm by under root pi. Right, sin square omega t, I can write it as 1 minus cos 2 omega t by 2. And you just split this into 2. I can take 2 common. It will Vm by under root 2 pi alpha to beta 1 this factor 1 d omega t minus integration from alpha to by beta cos 2 omega t d omega t. So integration of 1 omega t will be omega t. The limits are like this. Integration of cos 2 omega t will be 1 by 2 sin 2 omega t, and you just substitute upper limit and lower limit, and you will get this expression, which is Vm by under root pi under root beta minus alpha plus 1 by 2 sin 2 alpha minus sin 2 beta. This is the current expression. This is we have achieved dividing this RMS output voltage by Z. So this is about the RL load configuration in case of this type. Now we will go for one more load, which is RLE load, where L is the inductance, R is the resistance, E is the battery which is connected in series with R and L. So that you can see here. Okay. Now this is a circuit configuration, which is in the form of bridge now. So this bridge is converting the AC into variable DC across the load. Now these are the expected waveforms, right? So this circuit is fed from a single phase AC. You can see the AC waveform is like this, which is vary with respect to sin omega t. This is for one cycle, and I have drawn the waveform for 2 cycles here. Okay, and you can see one more point here at the input side. I have marked one line here, constant line, which is a battery voltage. Now here I am going to compare the input voltage with the battery voltage, because both are sources, both are active sources. Both will provide the power to the R and L, right? And our motto is to convert AC into DC. The load has to draw current from the source. So source is the AC source here. So to draw the current from the source should be at higher potential. This is just like a waterfall concept. The water can flow from higher potential to lower potential. So just like that one, the current will flow from higher potential to lower potential, right? So our source should be at higher potential to draw the current from the source, right? So that means you can see here, in order to see whether the input voltage is more than the battery voltage or not, I have marked the input voltage and battery voltage here for comparison. You can see here from 0 to theta 1. From 0 to theta 1, this portion, here you can see battery voltage is more than the input voltage. So even if you trigger thyristors, which are in forward bias condition, now T1 and T3 will be in forward bias condition during positive half cycle. even if you trigger before this theta 1, the thyristors won't go to the conduction state. They will be in off state and they will be start conducting from this theta onwards, theta 1 onwards. Again, you can see one more comparison here, theta 1 to theta 2, where the battery voltage is less than the input voltage. So in order to draw the current from the AC source, alpha should be more than theta 1 and it should be less than theta 2, because during this interval the AC voltage more than the DC battery voltage. Again, from theta 2 to pi, the battery voltage more. So even if you trigger the thyristor T1 and T3 during this interval theta 2 to pi, they won't go to conduction state, they will be in off condition. So this is the criteria you need to see during positive half cycle. Similarly, right? Similarly, we'll see the negative half cycle also, right? So during positive half cycle, T1 and T3, they are in forward bias condition because the anodes are connected to positive, the cathode terminals are connected to negative. So firing pulse to them is given at omega t equal to alpha. So from that point on, the output voltage has to follow the input voltage. It is following the input voltage, right? And you know that T2 and T4, they are in reverse bias condition because the anodes are connected to negative and cathodes of T2 and T4 are connected to positive. So they will be in reverse bias condition. So they will be in off state. So you can see the equivalent circuit like this. So the current always leaves from source positive, T1 anode, T1 cathode, R, L, battery, T3 anode, T3 cathode like this. So this is the direction of current which may flow from source to load, right? And since the load is having the inductance in the load, so you can see the current has to lag the voltage by some angle, it is lagging. And thereafter it is discharging. Thereafter it is discharging like this. So here the inductor is completely discharging. So before discharging the energy, the inductor has to replace its polarity. Previously the polarity will be positive and negative. Now the polarity will become reverse. It will be negative and positive. And the discharging current may take path like this: inductor positive, battery, T1, T3 anode, T3 cathode, source, right? T1 anode, T1 cathode, resistance, inductor negative. So you can see with the green color line, right? So this is a discharging current. So whatever energy it has, that will be dissipated to this resistance, or it may be fed back to the source, right? Now you can see during the small portion, the current flowing through the load equal to 0. So if the current flowing to the load equal to 0, due to this RLE load, I can write V naught equal to VR plus VL plus battery voltage. So during this small portion, you can see 0 output current. If the output current equals 0, VR will be 0, VL will be 0, V naught will be equal to E. That is what you can see. The output voltage is having some battery voltage, even though the output current equals 0, right? So this is about positive half cycle. Now we'll move on to the negative half cycle, right? So during negative half cycle, you can see the omega t may lie between pi to 2 pi, right? Between pi to 2 pi. So now I am going to mark the area with green color. So this is what we are going to focus. So during this interval, here it will be negative and here it will be positive. So that's the T2 and T4, they will be in forward bias condition. And if you trigger them, they will go to conduction state. And T3 and T1, they will be in reverse bias condition because T1 anode is connected to negative and T3 cathode is connected to positive, anode may be connected to negative. So these two devices, they will be in reverse bias condition and they will goes to off state. Since T2 and T4, they are in forward bias condition and I have given triggering pulse to them at omega t equal to pi plus alpha. So from this point onward, the output voltage following the input voltage. Right, and you can see the equivalent circuit when T1, T2 and T4 are triggered. So the current always leaves from positive terminal, it is leaving from positive. T2 anode, T2 cathode, resistance R, inductance L, battery. T4 anode, T4 cathode, like this. So this is the direction of current. Again, it is entering at this positive terminal. So even though the input is getting reversed, you will get the positive voltage across the load. Now, if from omega t equal to pi plus alpha to 2 pi, the inductor is charging with this polarity positive and negative. And after 2 pi, the inductor has to discharge. So for discharging, you can see before discharging the energy from the inductor, inductor has to replace its polarity. Polarity has become negative and positive now. So the current always leads from positive terminal. So for this circuit, the inductor behaves like a source. It is leaving from inductor positive, battery, T4 anode, T4 cathode, source, right? T2 anode, T2 cathode, inductor resistance R, and L negative. So this is the direction of current. You can see with blue color. This is the direction of current, which is now during this period, discharging period, T1, T2 and T4 still they are in conduction state, and they will be carrying this discharging current. So you can see the inductor is discharging here. It may discharge here, it may discharge here. That depends upon the value of inductor. If you keep more value of inductance in the load, the discharging time will be more, and it may discharge beyond this particular point, right? So now you can see one more point here. So this is what 2 beta. So during the small interval, you can able to see only battery voltage, because during this interval, the output current equal to 0, right? And all the thyristors, they are in off condition. So the load consists of only the battery, because if there is zero current to the resistance as well as inductance, VR will be 0, VL will be 0. You will left only the battery voltage, which is what you can see here. It's a battery voltage. So whenever all the thyristors, they will be in off condition, load will be having the battery voltage, but it is not having any current, right? Because there is no closed path for the current to get. So now we will focus on the derivation of average output voltage and RMS output voltage. And due to the symmetrical waveform, I am considering only one half cycle. This portion I am considering. So here 1 by pi alpha to beta, we are getting some voltage Vm sin omega t minus C d omega t. So if you subtract the minus battery voltage, you will get the net voltage during alpha to beta interval, right? So now I can take the Vm integration of sin omega t will be minus cos omega t, and the integration of constant E will be omega t. Just substitute upper and lower limit, you will get this expression, which is 1 by pi Vm cos alpha minus cos beta plus E into alpha minus beta, and you can write the expression for current like this. Similarly, we'll go for the RMS output voltage. And just now I told you that from alpha to beta, we are getting some voltage across the load. Vm sin omega t minus C whole square, because it is root mean square. So I am writing root mean multiply 1 by pi alpha to beta, we are getting some voltage. Net voltage will be Vm sin omega t minus C whole square into d omega t. So it will be A minus B whole square. You can write Vm square sin square omega t plus E square minus 2E Vm sin omega t into d omega t. And if you separate this term and integrate, you can write sin square omega t 1 minus cos 2 omega t by 2. And if you do this one, you will get the RMS output voltage for RLE load is this much. Right. So this is the expression. Okay. Now this is about RLE load. Now we are going to have some observation and average output voltage. Now here I am going to explain how we'll get the average output voltage as well as RMS output voltage if you know the expression for the average and RMS output voltage for RLE load. If you know the expression for RLE load, then you can easily express the average and RMS output voltage for R and RL load, right? So this now we have discussed just now for RLE load, and this is the expression. Now, if I make E equal to 0, if I short circuit E, then it will behave like a only resistance or inductive load. So if you place E equal 0 here, and that will give the expression for the RL load. And this is also we have seen in this lecture, right? Now this beta is due to presence of inductor. If you remove the inductor, the current may extinguish to 0 at beta equal to pi. So if you substitute beta equal to pi, and this will be the expression for resistive load. Similarly, you can derive the RMS output voltage for R and RL load from the equation of RLE load. Right? This is the expression just now we have seen for RLE load. Now, if you want to go for the RL load, we need to make battery voltage equal to 0. So if you make battery voltage equal to 0, now this factor goes to 0, this factor goes to 0. And if you rewrite this expression, you will get this expression. This is for RL load. Now, and as I told you, the current is extinguishes to 0 at omega t equal to beta when you have some inductor in the load. If you don't have inductor in the load, the current may extinguish to 0 at omega t equal to pi, which is beta. Right. So if you substitute beta equal to pi in this expression, you will get the RMS output voltage, which is 1 by under root 2 pi under root alpha minus beta plus 1 by 2 sine 2 alpha, which is for R load. So that like that you can derive these voltages from RLE load. Thank you.